Hello and welcome to the channel here at Heretic Day 40k, and welcome to my Chaos Space Marine 10th edition index review. If you like the content, please hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to see more. I do loads of battle reports and things, and as soon as all the rules are out, I will be going in thick and fast with the new 10th edition battle reports. If you want to, you can support me further by becoming a YouTube channel member. Loads of links below as well. But yes, Chaos Space Marine 10th edition, let's get into it. So we've got the index. The Chaos Space Marine's army rule is dark pacts. Essentially, each unit, when you decide it wants to shoot or fight something, you can do a dark pact, and it will get lethal hits or sustained hits 1. So essentially, 6s to hit will auto wound, or 6s to hit will generate extra hits. Every time you do a dark pact, though, that unit must take a leadership test. If it fails, you take D3 mortal wound. So there's a bit of risk to it, but being able to get 6s to hit auto wound or 6s to hit generate extra hits can be very, very handy on a unit that's about to go in with a loss of attacks. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The Lost and the Downed rule here essentially goes through saying that you can have Khorne Berserkers, Rubik Marines, and Plague Marines from the World Eaters, Fells and Sons, and Death Guard Codex Index things. But you can only have a certain amount of your army using those units, depending on the battle size being played. So typically Strike Force, 2,000 points. You can have up to a quarter of your army using Berserkers, Plague Marines, or Rubik Marines. So, okay, that's fair enough, I guess. Because if you want any more than that, you might as well play World Eaters, Fells and Sons, or Death Guard. So, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. You're looking for 6s. Right, Marks of Chaos. This is the detachment rule that we've got at the moment. Slaves to Darkness. So each time you select a Heretic Astartes unit, if it's not an epic hero, you can give it a mark. I think it actually says you must select one of the keywords below. So it has to have one of these. It has to either have a mark or be undivided. What do these do? Let's find out. So Khorne, known for being brutal but not so cunning, gives you Blood Fury. So in the fight phase, you get hits of 6 will automatically hit. If it has the lethal hits from the Dark Pact, essentially, or if it just had, so if it gains lethal hits from the Dark Pact ability, instead of it being 6s auto wound, it's 5s and 6s auto wound. So that's very nice on Berserkers, Terminators, maybe Chosen, maybe even things like Warp Talons and Raptors of things that you want to get stuck in combat. 5s and 6s will auto wound if they've done their Dark Pact for lethal hits. So that's quite cool. Tzeentch Warp Fire. It's a shooting one. It's essentially the same as the Khorne one, but guns. So if you've done your lethal hits Dark Pact, instead of it being 6s to hit auto wound, it's 5s and 6s to hit auto wound with your guns. So that could be good for Obliterators or Havocs, or maybe even, I think, with guns on it, really, I guess. I mean, hey, you can make a Tzeentch Larator. I don't know. Do what you like. A shooty unit. 5s and 6s auto wins if you've done your Dark Pact. So that's cool. Okay, Nurgle, they spread sickness. That used to be an objective before, but now it's an ability for Chaos Space Marine Nurgle units. If you've done your Dark Pact and you've decided to go for the sustained hits, if you shoot things, you get exploding hits on 5s and 6s, not just 6s. So that's, again, it's nice for a shoot unit. If you're wanting to get more and more hits through rather than more and more wounds. So the Tzeentch one is good for your big guns hitting big targets, I guess. And then your Nurgle one is good for clearing out hordes, essentially, just getting more and more hits being scored. Slaanesh, Excessive Cruelty in the fight phase. If you've done your sustained hits Dark Pact, they go off on 5s and 6s. So 5s and 6s exploding for Slaanesh units in combat again. That's if you want to clear out a horde. So that would be probably on things like probably your Berserkers or your Warp Talons or your Raptors, your units that you want going after infantry. You might as well try and get more hits. For the Khorne, the lethal hits in combat, that's probably the combat units you want hitting big things like vehicles. So your Terminators with their Power Fists or Chain Fists, or your Demon Prince and things like that. Chaos Undivided, though, isn't that bad. You don't even have to do a Dark Pact. You just always reroll hit rolls of 1. So that's actually not that bad. You don't have to do the risks of taking them all to wounds to unleash this for your Dark Pact. If you want to do a Dark Pact to get lethal hits or sustain hits, you can, but all the time you just reroll hit rolls of 1. I mean, you can make your entire army undivided, and your entire army will reroll hit rolls of 1. That's going to be a good damage boost right off the bat, without having to risk Dark Pacts and Mortal Wounds and do any other shenanigans. So that's actually not that bad. There are a couple of restrictions. You can't give a Psyker or Khorne keyword for obvious reasons. Khorne does not like magic. A character unit with the ability can only be attached to a bodyguard unit with the same mark, essentially. So you can't have a Khorne Chaos Lord joining a Nurgle, Legionary squad, for example. They've got to have the same keyword. So that makes sense. One thing to notice on this is Abaddon has all of the above. So Abaddon can join whatever unit he wants, which is nice, makes sense. He is the War Master. Moving on to the stratagems. Some of these are quite nice. Some of these are a bit pants. Infernal Rites. It's Armour of Contempt, essentially. So in your opponent's shoot or fight phase, 2 CP, you can pick one of your units and it reduces AP by 1. Why it's 2 CP and Space Marines have exactly the same stratagem with exactly the same wording for 1 CP, I don't know. That's a bit of a feels bad. I don't think anyone in Chaos is going to do that now because it's 2 CP. It's ridiculous. Why is that 2 CP? I really do not know. But okay, fine. Maybe it's because with the Nurgly things you could stack too many defensive buffs. But if you're paying for it and you're making... Yeah, I don't see why. But okay, fine. Profane Zeal, 1 CP. In your shooting or fight phase, pick one of your units. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1. If it's undivided, you can reroll all hits and all wounds. So that's very nice. So your Chaos Undivided units will always reroll hit rolls of 1 anyway. Spend 1 CP on them. They're already rolling all hits and rerolling all wounds. Very nice for a CP. Even if they're not an undivided unit, it then gives them reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. Again, very, very nice. Nice little damage boost there. Eternal Hate, 1 CP in the fight phase. After an enemy unit has selected its targets, you can pick one of your Heretic Astartes unit that has been selected as a target. Until the end of the phase, if any of those models in your unit die, you roll a dice. On a 4-up, it gets to fight on death. If it's Khorne, it's on a 3-up, you get the fight on death. It's not bad for a fight on death thing, but you do it when you're selected as a target. So it's only really worth it if you know that your unit is actually going to get absolutely smashed. If you think your opponent's going to take out 1 or 2 models, it's probably not worth it. But it's nice. It's a nice little trick to have in your pocket if someone charges your unit Berserkers. And you think that your unit of Berserkers have got a good chance of getting absolutely smashed. For a CP, you can make your Berserkers probably kill the unit that hit them in return. So yeah, or maybe not just Berserkers. If you've got Khorne Chosen as well, I think Khorne Chosen could be a thing. That could be useful. Moving on to some more stratagems, we have the sort of other mark dependent strats. Obviously, this is your Khorne one, the fight on death one. Now we have Skin Shift, which is a Tzeentch specific one. But it's not just Tzeentch, it's anything, but Tzeentch benefit more. In your command phase, you pick one unit from your army. A model in that unit regains up to 3 wounds. If it's a Tzeentch unit, you can not only heal someone, you can bring a model back to the unit as well. This could be very good if you make a unit of 10 Terminator Tzeentch. That would be nice. Or maybe a unit of 4, yes, 4 Obliterators. If you make Tzeentch Obliterators, you can heal them and bring them back. I think that's definitely a thing. We'll see more on the Obliterators later on. Whilst we got Dark Obscuration. This is good for Nurgly units. In your opponent's shooting phase, when they select one of your targets as one of your units as a target for the attack, that unit of yours has the stealth ability. So essentially, you can make one of your units -1 a hit when they get shot at. If it's a Nurgle unit, if they're more than 12 inches away, they can't even actually target them. So Nurgle Havocs for the win. Just sit them at the back. If someone wants to shoot them, just go 1 CP. You can't shoot them. Just have your Havocs shooting all game long. That'd be nice. Or maybe if you've just got a Predator at the back or a Land Raider just sitting at the back, just blasting things away and just make it Nurgle and just go nah, you're not hitting it. You're too far away. That could be interesting. It doesn't say just infantry, so you can definitely make a Land Raider untargetable for a CP if it's Nurgle. That's my evil chaos laugh. Unnatural Swiftness. In your movement phase, you can pick one of your units. Till the end of the turn, it's eligible to shoot and declare a charge in turn in which it fell back. So you can fall back, shoot and charge with a unit. If it's Slanesh, in addition, you can also shoot and charge if you advance. So this makes me think things like Warp Talons being Slanesh could be a thing. Having advancing and charging Warp Talons, and fall back and charging Warp Talons. Or possessed, or something like that. That you can fall back, shoot and charge. You could also do it on things like Terminators. But is Celestial Terminators better than Tzeentch? I don't know. Slanesh and Tzeentch for the Dark Pact abilities both give you extra sustained hits rather than lethal hits, so it's an interesting one. But more mobility with Slanesh is always very good. The enhancements, there's 5 here, which is I think more than what most of other indexes have got. Essentially, you've got one for every mark and then one for undivided, so that makes sense. That seems to be the theme in this index. The Talisman of Burning Blood is the core one, of course. You can give it to a core model and they get an extra attack and strength in combat. And every time they make a Dark Pact, you get an extra D3 attacks and D3 strength. So that's a nice little combat boost for maybe a Khorne Demon Prince or something like that. That's quite good. The Eye of Tzeentch. Surprise, surprise, Tzeentch model only. Every time you make a Dark Pact, you gain a CP if you pass the leadership test. So you can make a Tzeentch character essentially a CP farm. So I'm thinking maybe you can have a Tzeentch Sorcerer at the back next to some Tzeentch Havocs, so the Havocs can get auto wounds on 5s and 6s. And the Sorcerer will give them -1 hit. I'll see more on Sorcerers later. And then while the Sorcerer is sitting at the back with the Havocs, you can just get your CPs. Maybe, or something like that. Orbs of Unlife. This is the Nurgle one. At the end of the fight phase, you roll a d6 for every enemy unit within 6 inches of him. Add 1 if he's done a Dark Pact. 4-ups or 3-ups if you've done a Dark Pact. And each unit takes d3 mortal wounds. Not bad on something you want to sort of throw forwards into the middle of the enemy. As long as it sort of survives long enough to keep doing this turn after turn after turn, it can mount up. That's nice. The Intoxicating Elixir for a Slanesh model. The bearer has a 5+, feel no pain. Hello, Demon Prince. Each time he shoots or fights, if it's made a Dark Pact, after the bearer has resolved those attacks, the enemy unit that's been hit must take a Battle Shock test. So in addition to having a 5+, feel no pain, you can Battle Shock enemies as well. I think that would be brilliant on something like a Demon Prince. But yes, okay. The Lib Heretics. This is for your Chaos Undivided models. Each time the bearer makes a Dark Pact, that unit's gain lethal hits and sustained hits until the end of the phase. So that's good, instead of just one or all the other. So if you've got one unit that's going to do lots of damage, you can just fish for 6s basically for auto wounds and extra hits. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. It doesn't mean that you're undivided, so you can't get other benefits, but undivided units also reroll hit loss of 1 as well, so you're rerolling some hits. And for a CP, you can reroll all hits and all wounds, so you can sort of fish for the 6s a bit. So that's nice. Okay. Abaddon the Despoiler. He is an epic hero. No surprise there. He's not as amazing as he was in Night, but now you can bear him inside a unit of Terminators. It's just hilarious. Okay, so he's got movement 5, same as Terminators. That's probably why his movement's gone down a bit. His toughness is 5, same as Terminators. Okay, fine. He is, after all, essentially just a captain in Terminator armour, but he has been possessed by the Dark Gods, so he does have 9 wounds, as well as his 2-up save. So that's very nice. That's fine. I imagine he's going to be a lot cheaper in terms of points than the 9th edition Abaddon. He has the Talon of Horus. It's essentially a bolter with sustained hits. 4 shots, hit on 2, strength 5, -1, 2 damage. Okay, that's fine. It's a nice to have. But where he really sings is in combat. Dracnian and Talon of Horus both have devastating wounds, which means any wounds of 6, their damage will be just mortal wounds. He can have 8 attacks with Dracnian. That's strength 14, -4, 3 damage. I think everyone's going to be using that most of the time. But if you want to clear out a horde, use his Talon with 14 attacks. Hit on 2s at strength 7, -3, 1 damage. And obviously if he does a Dark Pact, you can get exploding 6s. So I'd be doing that. I wouldn't be giving him the lethal hits, because then you're not going to get the devastating wounds. So that's that. He also has something called the War Master. In the command phase, you can pick one of the abilities. The abilities are as follows. Paragon of Hatred, it's an aura. All Heretic Astartes units within 6 inches of him can reroll hits. Simple as that. He's back to being good old, I'm going to buff everything around me. Everything within 6 inches of reroll all hits. That's amazing. It's not just his units, it's anything else around as well. So you have him walking down the table with 10 Terminators, with a Land Raider, with Hellbrutes, with whatever you want, walking down with him. Heck, you could even deep strike some Obliterators next to him, and they can reroll all hits as well. So, yes, that's a thing. That's good. I like that. Mark of Chaos Ascendant, though, is also quite good. All friendly Astartes infantry or mounted units within 6 inches get a 4+ invulnerable save. That's very good. Obviously, Terminators already have a 4+ invulnerable save. And he can't actually lead things like Chosen. He can only lead Terminators or Legionaries, which is a shame. And obviously it's only infantry, so... And obviously Possessed and Warp Talons already have invulnerable saves. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a very nice one to have if you've built your list to be mainly infantry, and you can just form your infantry around him to all have invulnerable saves. That could be very good. But Terminators have 4 invuls now anyway, so... Yeah. Okay, Lord of the Traitor Legions. It's another aura of 6 inches. All units can reroll their leadership and battleshot tests. So that essentially anything within 6 inches of him is less likely to take the mortal wounds from your Dark Pacts. So you can not worry about that so much, which is nice. In addition, each time this model makes a Dark Pact and does not fail on a 2+, you get a CP. Okay, so he's a nice little CP farm for you, as well as buffing everything around him and being a bit of a beat stick. As mentioned, he does have all the keywords for Undivided, Qual, Slash, Nurgle, Zeech. And obviously, if he joins a unit, they act as a unit. So I can only assume the unit that he joins gets all of these words as well. Although that's not entirely clear. I have looked at the core rules, and I still can't quite figure it out what happens to keywords between characters and units, because they're essentially just acting as a unit. So what happens if they've got slightly different keywords? Don't know. That's interesting. Because you could have him join a unit that's just undivided, and then because he's got all the keywords, that unit then has all the keywords, so you can benefit from all the different things. So, yes, interesting. I don't know. Okay. Harken Warclaimer, he's not bad. He can join a unit of Raptors. His spear is not bad with its 1 shooting attack. It's a very big shooting attack, and it's an assault weapon, so he can advance from throw his spear. It's actually got sustained hits T3 as well, so if you get a 6 on that hit roll, that's nice. But it's hitting on the 2, it's from fake -3 damage, very nice. His Talon's got precision, so him with some Raptors are good at taking out characters. And he hits on 6, has 6 attacks. Hit on 2, strength 5, -2, 2 damage. So that's quite good for dealing with characters. And then he gets an extra attack with his spear as well, which is Lance, and sustained hits D3 again. So if you're lucky and you get your 6 to hit, that's very good. And that has the same profile as the shooting equivalent at 8 -3, 3 damage. Okay, Head Taker. While this model is leading a unit, when you're in the charge move, you can potentially do mortal wounds. That's quite nice. Herald of the Apocalypse, which is an aura. Enemy unit within 6 inches of him in the battle shock step of their command phase. If that enemy unit is below starting strength, it must take a battle shock test. This ability cannot cause a unit to take 2 battle shock tests in the same phase. So, okay, he can force a bit more battle shock. Okay, that's fine. And as mentioned, he can join a unit of Raptors. Huron Blackheart. He has the blackest heart of them all, even though he wears red. He's not bad. 5 wounds. Okay, fine. His claw's not too shabby. He's got a little shooting attack. D6 attacks. It's like a flamer. Strength 6, -1/1 damage. And in combat, he's got his claw as well, with 10 attacks. Hit on 2, strength 4, -2/1 damage. So he's good at clearing out chaff. And then he's got his exalted weapon, aka his axe, where he can have 6 attacks, with a bit more strength and a bit more damage. So he's not too bad. He's got some abilities. The Tyrant of Badab. While this model is leading a unit, you get an extra objective control characteristic. That's nice. Red Core says, after both players have deployed their armies, you can select up to 3 infantry units and redeploy them. It's done after you've deployed, though, not after you've rolled to see who goes first. It's not at the start of the first battle round, so it's not amazing. Redeploys when they happen after your deployment aren't really that great. Amai Rydra's knowledge, his little psychic familiar. Once per battle, when an enemy ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 of him, if his model's unit is not within engagement range, it can take a normal move up to D6 inches. So you can run away a little bit if something comes near you. Okay, fine. And he's got a 4-point bar. Nothing to write home about there. If you want, you can join a unit of chosen or legionaries, of which you can give better objective control to. Okay, he's not amazing. Heretic Astartes Demon Prince, amazing model and an amazing stat line to boot. He's now toughness 10 with a 2-up save and 10 wounds. Very nice. He gets an Infernal Cannon, which is like the old Warp Bolter, I guess. It's 3 shots. He hits on 2, strength 5, -1/2 damage. That's nice. Not to be sniffed at. His melee weapons is where he shines. He gets a strike or a sweep profile. You can either have 6 big attacks at strength 8, -2/3 damage, or 14 little attacks for dealing with chaff. So that's nice. You need to give him a demonic allegiance, so you can choose him to be Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh. If he's Khorne, you get extra 2 strength. That's nice. Then your strike attack will be strength 10, which is very nice at -2/3 damage. Or your sweep will even be strength 8. So that's quite nice. You can make him Tzeentch, which means he gets an extra 3 attacks on his gun. So he now gets 6 attacks. That's from 5 -1/2 damage. That's not too bad. You can make him Nurgle, so he gets an extra toughness. Toughness 11 Demon Prince. That sounds nice to me, especially when combined with that strat earlier. You can make him -1 to hit, and if he's more than 12 inches away, he can't be shot. I think most people are going to be running Nurgle Demon Princes, to be honest, simply to keep them alive. So now she can get extra 2-inch move. Okay, fine. Dark Blessing Aura, while a friendly Heretic Astartes unit, that's his infantry, is within 6 inches of him. If that infantry unit is getting shot at, they get the benefit of cover. So essentially, if you have an infantry running around the Demon Prince, the infantry is getting shot at, they get the benefit of cover. That's quite nice. Ascended Demon, each time this model shoots or fights, you can reroll a hit and a wound. So that's nice. That gets rid of a bit of the randomness if you're rolling poorly, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I would make a Demon Prince Nurgle, so you can make him -1 hit and potentially not targetable, because he has not got Lone Operative and he cannot join a unit, so he will get shot at if he's in the open and in line of sight, even if he's surrounded by some infantry or things. So making him Nurgle to make a -1 hit, or just not targetable if they're more than 12 inches away, that's definitely worth doing for a CP, and it also makes him tougher at toughness 11 as well. So that's very nice. Demon Prince with wings, exactly the same, except for his toughness 9, which makes that Nurgle even better, because it then puts on a toughness 10. That's definitely worth doing. He gets a bit quicker with movement 12, obviously, and he can fly, because he's got wings. He can also deep strike as well, which is interesting. So you can deep strike a Demon Prince down using rapid ingress in your opponent's turn, and then your turn he can then fly off and go and murder something. Or he can just fly around and do what he wants. And if he's more than 12 away, you can make him -1 to hit, Or, no, make a -1 hit anyway. If he's more than 12 away, not get shot at. If he's Nurgle, that's up as 10. I definitely like having a Nurgle Demon Prince. I think, yes. Demonic Destruction, one of his abilities, each time this model ends a charge move, select them a unit of engagement range, they can take mortal wounds to a maximum of 6. Okay, you roll a dice for every one of your remaining wounds, so essentially if you go in with 10 wounds, you're rolling 10 dice. 4 ups, mortal wounds, but up to a maximum of 6. Very nice. Flying Horror, each time this model ends a move, every unit that's moved over, that unit must take a battle shock test. You can only select one enemy unit to do that with, but that's fine. That's a nice little thing to have there. Fabius Bile, Fabulous Bill. He's not bad. Stat lines to be expected. He's not really massively killy. I mean, he's got a rod. Yeah, you can torment people with that. It's hitting 6 times on a 2+, 5 -1 free damage. It's not too bad. Not too bad. His little needler's not too bad either, I guess. 3 shots. Hitting on 2s. Wounds infantry on 2s at AP 1, 2 damage. He's not too bad. But that's not why you bring Fabius Bile. He's also got a 5-up Feel No Pain, which again is nice, but that's not why you bring him. You bring him so he leads a unit. Enhanced Warriors, while he's attached to a unit, that unit gets +1 strength and a +1 toughness. They are beefier. The Surgeon, once per turn, you can make a attack that hits the unit, damage 0. It's very nice. You get to pick which one it is as well. It's not just the first, you get to pick the damage characteristic of one attack to 0, so that's very nice. And the Chirurgeon, the first time this unit's Fabius Bile is destroyed on a 2-up, he gets back up again. So even if he gets sniped and you get past those 5 wounds and Feel No Pain, he could just get back up again. So he's a very good character at keeping a good unit alive. He's not too bad himself, and I believe he can lead Chosen and Legionaries. I would definitely put him with a unit of Chosen. That sounds nice to me. A unit of Chosen with an extra strength and an extra toughness to go with their 3 wounds. Make 1 damage 0 every turn. He's not bad in combat himself. Yeah, he is undivided though. So the Chosen will have to be undivided, but that just means they reroll hit rolls of 1. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can make them reroll all hits and all wounds if you want to. So that could be quite a pokey little unit going around. Cypher. Let's decipher his data sheet. Stat line is to be expected. Nothing to write home about there. 5 wounds, 3-up save, T4. That's fine. He gets Lone Operative, which makes sense. That he can't be shot at if he's more than 12 away because he's Cypher and he's mysterious. He's got some secrets. He's got his bolt pistol and his plasma pistol again, both with loads of shots, both for assault, both a pistol, both get sustained hits. So basically lots and lots of shots out of his pistols. His bolt pistol's got 6 shots, hitting on 2s, 4 -1 damage. His pistol has got 3 shots, hitting on 2s, 8 -3, 2 damage. And obviously you can shoot both of those and any 6s to hit their extra hits, so that's very nice. In combat, he's nothing to write home about. He just hits people. The Agent of Discord, once per battle, you can make one of your opponent's stratagems cost an extra CP, so that's a nice little nerf you can give to your opponent. That's nice. That's nice. And you've got Guns Blazing, which is a nice little rule. I like this. And every time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, if one or more of those attacks target a friendly Heretic Astartes unit, doesn't have to be infantry, just unit within 3 inches of Cypher, after that enemy has finished shooting, Cypher can shoot as if it's your shooting phase, but must shoot that enemy unit. So if he's running around surrounded by units, some of the units are targeted within 12 inches of Cypher, he can shoot back basically. And his pistols are pretty pokey. That's not a bad little rule. That I like that. That's cool. Moving on to a Master of Possession. I don't think these are going to be as good as they were in 9th edition. They're essentially an anti-psyker. They've got their Witchfires, which are anti-psykers, which is nice, but no devastating wounds, which is a bit of a shame because they get anti-psyker 2+. So that's a shame, but they do get precision on those hit rolls of. I think it's hit rolls of 6 that give you character targeting. So okay, and other than that, they're just sort of smites. Strength 6 -3, 3 damage, or strength 4 -3, 2 damage. So that's nothing to write home about there. But okay, fine. And he's got a staff. Again, it's only psychic 2+. It's a psychic attack. Nothing to write home about there. So yeah, he's not that great. He can lead units. What can he lead? Chosen, legionaries, or possessed. Okay, that's interesting. While he is leading a unit, you can add 1 to advance and charge rolls for that unit. So if you have him with a unit of possessed, for example, that would be nice. Getting +1 to advance and charge for your possessed. And if you make them Slanesh, you can advance and charge them. I think that's what I read earlier in one of those earlier rules. Let's have a quick look at that stratagem. Yes, you can advance and charge for a CP, so that's quite nice. Okay, where was I? I've lost my space. There we go. So we can go. You can go possessed. You can make them advance and charge if they're Slanesh as well for a CP, and you get +1 to advance and +1 to charge. And he's got a movement of 8 as well. So he's quite quick. He can keep up with the possessed. So that's quite good. In addition, it'd also give the unit a 6-up shrug or 6-up feeling of pain. So that's quite good. I'd put him with possessed. He's there to buff the possessed. He's not there to really do much himself. Sacrificial dagger once per phase. When he's set to shoot or fight, if it does, this model suffers a mortal wound. To the end of that phase, each time it makes a psychic attack, add 1 to the hit and the wound roll. Okay, it's not bad, but you're just going to do more wounds to yourself and not try to bother. He's got a 5+ invulnerable save. Okay, Chaos Lord, your standard Chaos Lord. He can have lots of different weapons. Hammers are quite nice with devastating wounds, but just 2 damage now. The normal hammers are not that great. He's got 5 wounds and a 3-up save and a 4+ invulnerable save. He can lead some units. I believe he can lead Chosen and Legionaries. Yes, of course he can, because they're also in power armor. Once per battle round, you can target a unit to do a stratagem for 0 CP, even if that stratagem would have been used. So that's quite nice. It's similar to what we see for Space Marine captains with their rights of battle. I think it's called rights of battle. So that's quite good. Chance for glory, though, is quite nice if you make him into a Smash Lord. Once per battle, start the fight phase, you can use his ability, improve strength, attacks, armor penetration, and damage of all his melee weapons by 1. So then that hammer will then go up to 6 attacks at strength 9 -3, 3 damage. That sounds like a better hammer to me, but it is only once per battle, so for 1 fight phase, you can make him do some proper damage. But yeah, not amazing, but okay. Chaos Lord and Terminator armor. This guy's a bit better. Got an extra wound, extra toughness, and an extra save. You can have your combi weapons, which is nice, which do devastating wounds on infantry and things now. You can give them all the different melee weapon options, which is nice. The exalted weapons are quite nice at 6 attacks, hitting on 2s. Strength 5 -2, 2 damage. They're quite nice, quite tasty. He can deep strike, obviously. He can lead units. He can lead Terminators. Lord of Chaos, again, that's the same as what we saw for the other Lord of Chaos. And he does actually half damage as well. So he's a bit like the Gravis captain for Space Marines. He's the chonky sort of leader that doesn't want to die. And obviously he's got a 4+ invulnerable save, which is nice. Sorcerers, I mentioned these guys earlier. These are going to be very nice little things to have. The Space Marine Sorcerers give a unit a 4+ invulnerable save. The Chaos Sorcerers, Space Marine Librarians, Chaos Sorcerers, when they're leading a unit, they're -1 to hit. So that's quite nice. So you don't need to make a unit Nurgle or spend a CP to make a unit -1 to hit. So you can have some Tzeentch Havocs instead of Nurgle Havocs and just make them -1 to hit. And you can sit at the back doing witch fires for 24 inches as well if he really wants to. That's quite nice. And if someone wants to charge the Havocs, then they've got his force weapon to deal with. So he's a bit of a deterrent as well. He does actually do devastating wounds with his witch fire as well, unlike the Master of Possessions. So that's interesting. He's also got the Gift of Chaos ability. Each time he's selected to shoot or fight, select one enemy unit that's been hit by 1 more of those attacks. The psychic ability. They must take a leadership test. If it fails, they take an extra D3 mortal wounds. So you can be a little bit of a mortal wound bomb. You can be quite useful, and you can keep one of your units alive. That's nice. Although I don't think you can be with Havocs actually. No, you can only be with Chosen or Legionaries. Okay, when you can run them up with some Chosen, make some Chosen -1 hit, and then his psychic abilities are going to be more likely to get in range and do damage. So that could be a thing. Sorcerer and Terminator armor, like the other Sorcerer, but he's a Terminator. Pretty much all the weapons are the same as what we would expect. His abilities are Warp Time. When he's leading a unit, you can reroll advance and charge rolls. That's quite nice. Maybe Deep Strike in with some Terminators and you get to reroll your charge roll. That could be quite handy. Or if he's Celeste, you've got Celeste Terminators, you can make them advance and charge. You can reroll those advance and charge rolls if you want to. That could be quite nice. He's also got Death Hex at the start of your shooting phase. You can use this ability if he does set an enemy unit within 12 invisible, and on a 2+, everything that hits that unit gets improved armor penetration characteristic by 1. AP and temp seems to be reduced across the board, being able to pump that back up by 1 for a particular unit within 12 inches of this guy for everything shooting that unit. That's quite nice. I like that. On a roll of a 1 though, you take D3 mortal wounds, but yeah, fine. War gear abilities. He's got a Chaos Familiar. Once per battle, if something's targeted him, you can make it damage 0. So essentially, if someone's going to try and snipe this guy, the first damage you can just make 0. So that's quite nice. And you can obviously lead Terminators. Lucius the Eternal. He can lead, I think, Legionaries and Noise Marines. Yes. He is obviously Slash because he's Emperor's Children. But obviously that's not a thing at the moment in the index. He's quite good. Doom Siren's like an AP1 26 Flamer. That's fine. It doesn't ignore cover though. His Sword and Lash of Torment gets to precision attacks, which is quite nice. So he's good at sort of fighting characters. 8 attacks hitting on 2s, it's 5 miles, 2 damage. That's not too bad. He also gets Fight First, and his unit gets Fight First as well with Duelist Pride. So a unit of Legionaries with Fight First all kitted out for combat with the Marker Slash. Could be a little bit pokey. He also has the Armour of Shrieking Souls. Each time this model is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy unit, that unit must take a leadership test. If it's passed, they take some mortal wounds. If it's failed, they take even more mortal wounds. If mortal wounds inflicted in this way destroy the enemy unit, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible. With D3 wounds remaining as well. And it must be said, okay, so essentially if he dies, he does mortal wounds on the way out. So, okay, that's quite nice. Lord Discordant, he's good now. Move 10, toughness 9, 2 up save, 10 wounds. Very good. He gets a decent number of attacks, both in combat and shooting, because he's got lots of different weapons and lots of extra attacks. So you get lots and lots of attacks at damage 2 essentially with this guy, which is very, very nice. The autocannon's quite good as well, actually. So that's nice. Essentially, he's very good at doing anti-vehicle things. Corrupt Machine Spirit. Once per turn at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle unit within 12 and visible to him or to one or more of your models from your army with this ability. So him, that unit must take a leadership test. If it's passed, model that unit makes attack -1 hit. If they fail that test, that vehicle cannot shoot. So we can debuff enemy vehicles shooting, which is very nice. Meanwhile, at the start of your own shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle within 12 inches, and every time you target that, you can reroll win rolls of 1. So he makes their vehicles worse and makes them easier to kill. So that's nice. He can't join any units though, and he does not have the lone operative, so he could be shot at, make him nurgle, and make him not get shot at. Warp Smith, he's like a tech marine. He's got loads of those weapons and things, not going to go through all those. We can see what they do. His abilities though are quite nice, and he can lead units. I think he can lead quite a few chosen Havocs Legionaries, so he can lead Havocs. I think he's one of the few units that can. Okay. While this model is within 3 inches of one or more of your vehicle units, so he does get lone operative. So you don't have to put him in a unit, you can just have him walking around next to a land raider and he can't get shot unless he's within 12. Master of Mechanisms in your command phase, pick a Heretic Astartes vehicle within 3. They can regain D3 wounds and get +1 to hit. Have him walking next to a land raider. Enraged Machine Spirits at the end of your movement phase, select one enemy vehicle within 12 of him and they must take a battle shock test. Okay, that's fine. You can also have him walking around next to a Corn Lord of Skulls, and we'll see the Corn Lord of Skulls later on. It's a bit of a tank. Exalted Champion, again they've still got this model that you can't buy anymore in the data sheets. Okay, fine. Dark Champion, while this model is in a unit, you can get +1 hit, so that's quite nice. If you have him as Undivided and in a unit of Chosen, they'll get +1 hit, and they're Undivided, so they're rerolling hit rolls of 1, so they're essentially hitting everything, which is quite nice. Aspire to Glory, each time this model unit makes a Dark Pact until the end of the phase, add D3 to the strength characteristics of his weapons, so you can make his axe stronger. Okay, that's fine, I guess. And he can lead Chosen or Legionaries, and he can join a unit even if one other character is in that unit. So you can have maybe him and a sorcerer in a unit of Chosen, perhaps. So then become -1 hit and getting +1 hit in return. That could be quite nice. That sounds like not a bad idea. Dark Apostles. Yeah, they're still not bad in combat. 5 attacks, hit on 2, strength 6, -1, 2 damage. That's fine. He still has his little minions who carry the books. He's only got 4 wounds now, they're not 5. But okay. His abilities are not quite nice though, and he can lead units. Dark Zealotry, while a unit he's leading makes a melee attack, you get +1 a wound, so that's very nice on things like Chosen. You could put him and an Exalted Champion in a unit that's Chosen, so they're getting +1 hit and +1 to wound. That's a nice little combination. Demagogue, once per battle at the start of any phase, you can select one enemy Heretic Astartes unit within 9 and battle shot, then no longer battle shot. I think that's similar to what chaplains do for Space Marines, the same as the Dark Zealotry is the same as what chaplains do for Space Marines. So no shocks there, that's to be expected. They're quite nice. Aligned Sacrifice at the start of your fight phase. If you've got one or more Dark Disciples, you can select one of those Dark Disciples and they essentially go and give mortal wounds to the enemy, and then you remove the Dark Disciple. So you can quite literally throw the book at people and do mortal wounds. I think that's quite funny. But okay. And you can lead Cursed Cultists, Normal Cultists, Chosens and Legionaries. So okay, that's fine. Dark Commune, I'm not going to go through these guys, I'm not massively interested. Legionaries, these are your bog standard troops. They do what they do. They are veterans of the Long War. Each time a model in this unit targets an enemy with a melee attack, you can reroll the wound roll of 1. If the enemy unit is in range of an objective, you can reroll all wounds. So these guys are better for combat than shooting things. That's fine. They actually have a decent number of attacks as well in combat, so that's quite nice. You can give them a Chaos Icon, so you can reroll the leadership test for the Dark Pacts. So you can always do your Dark Pact and not worry about taking mortal wounds and things. So that's quite nice. That's quite nice. Cultist mob, they're cultists. Nothing's really changed for them. You get sticky objectives with them though, which is quite nice, I guess. But you might as well just keep them on the objective just to screen out deep strikes and things. Accursed Cultists, they get Feel No Pain. They're a bit punchier than the standard cultists, and you can return mutants and models to it, so that's quite nice, but not particularly amazing. Chaos Terminators, they got the Space Marine Terminator treatment. They got a 4+ invulnerable save, 2-up save, ×5 free wounds. Very, very nice. Lots of combi weapons though, which Space Marine Terminators can't have. So let's put our Chaos Terminators with as many combi weapons as we can get our hands on, and let's fish for those devastating wounds against infantry. Yes, please. Also, the Reaper autocannon also does devastating wounds as well. I guess that's our version of the assault cannon. so that's quite nice. And yeah, they're not bad. They haven't got anything like Fury of the First or the Rapid Ingress thing, like Teleport Home or anything like that, but they do have the spoilers. When they make a Dark Pact, you can reroll the hit. So you don't have to be near Abaddon or be Undivided to reroll hits with Terminators. You just do a Dark Pact and you can reroll all your hits. So that's quite nice. As for combi weapons, any number of models in the unit can have their combi bolter replaced with a combi weapon. I think I'll probably make these guys Undivided, give them all combi weapons, and reroll those hits and wounds into 2 mortal wounds to the enemy. Any infantry. Because you could have 10 attacks. Hit and falls, but rerolling hits. With sustained or lethal hits, depending what you go with. Yeah, they could do quite good. Okay, cool. Master of Executions. He's not bad. He can do lots of devastating wounds to characters because his axe has got devastating wounds and precision. 5 attacks hit on 2 strength 7 -2 damage. So that's very, very nice. He's a warp-sighted butcher. While this model is leading a unit, if you make a melee attack, if it's against units below starting strength, you can reroll the hit. If it's below half strength, you can reroll hits and wounds. So he's very good at finishing off units and maybe killing the characters within those units as well. Every time he does kill an enemy character, you get a CP. So that's quite nice. He collects trophies and he can lead units. You can put him in Chosen or Legionaries, and he can also go in a unit that has other characters. So yeah, that's quite interesting. Okay, that's very nice. Possessed, they're good. They can move 9 inches at toughness 6 now. 3 up save, 3 wounds. They have 4 attacks each, hit on 3s at strength 5 -1 2 damage. Very, very nice. I would make them Celestial Advance and Charge with these bad boys. That's what I would do. Unholy Bloodshed. Each time it's Dark Pact until the end of the phase, they get devastating wounds. Yes, you heard me. 6 is 2 wounds for these guys. When they make a Dark Pact, will do 2 mortal wounds instead of 2 damage. That's very, very nice. You can give them an icon as well, so you can re-roll that leadership test for their Dark Pact. I'll definitely be taking that. They get a 5+ animal save as well, which is very nice. And if you put a Master of Possession with them, you can give them a 6-up shrug. So, yeah, these guys look quite nice. Yeah, Possessed. Cool. Okay. Chosen. They've got 3 wounds. They've kept that. They can get lots of different weapons. Combi weapons in here as well. They are Chosen Marauders. This unit can fall back, shoot and charge, and it can also advance and shoot and charge. Very, very, very nice. So you don't need to make these guys Slash, essentially. You can make them whatever you like. And they can do all the extra mobility things that Slash units can. So that's very, 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 very nice. I might actually just go Chosen that are Undivided so they can reroll all hits and all wounds. And they can fall back, shoot and charge, advance, shoot and charge, and do what they like and have a great time. You can't put Abaddon with Chosen, unfortunately, because Abaddon running around, fall back and shoot and charging and all the rest of it for free would be a bit ridiculous, I'm sure. Although he has got the Marcus Slash, so for a CP you can make him do it. But Undivided Chosen, rerolling hits and wounds is a thing to get some devastating wounds on your combi weapons. How many can take combi weapons? 2 for every 5. So you've got a unit of 10, you can have 4 combi weapons. That's quite nice, isn't it? That's not bad. And then you can have the rest of them with, accursed weapons to bonk things on the head in combat, rerolling hits and wounds. That would be quite nice. I like that. I like these Chosen. Noise Marines! It's the guitar playing loons from Slash. The Blastmaster is still a nice weapon. 3 attacks at 48-inch range at strength 9 -2 3 damage. Very, very nice. And it's heavy. So if you stay still, you will be hitting on the freeze. The Doom Siren, it's like a stronger flamer, but it doesn't ignore cover. The other weapons we already know about. Righteous Cacophony. In your shooting phase, after this unit's shot, set enemy unit's been hit by one of these attacks, they must take a battle shock test. Essentially, your noise can make people think battle shocked, and that's very nice. And again, you can take in a chaos icon to reroll those leadership tests for Dark Pacts. Very nice. Venom Crawlers, they're good. they're still good. They move 12 now. Toughness 9 with a free up save and 9 wounds. Very, very nice. They have an excruciator cannon. I think they have 2 of them actually. Yes, 2 excruciator cannons. So that's 12 shots coming out. Hitting on freeze with 6 attacks at -1 AP, 2 damage. Same profile in combat as well. And at the end of any phase, if one or more attacks made by this model were destroyed, one or more enemy units until the end of the phase, until the end of the battle, sorry, add 1 to the attack characteristics of this model's weapons. So you need to get 14 excruciator cannon attacks. Oh, that's very nice. Chaos Bikers. There's nothing really to write home about with these bikers. They're just bikers. The only thing to mention, however, though, is they can outmaneuver, which means you can essentially redeploy if you're within 6 inches of a battlefield edge, which is very, very nice. Raptors. Nothing amazing with these guys. I mean, you can have Harkon leading a unit of them, which is nice. They've got a fearsome aura, so while an enemy unit is within 6 inches, they can take a battle shot test. When they do, they subtract 1 from the result. So, okay, fine. At the start of the fight phase, every enemy unit of engagement range must take a battle shot test. So they're just good at going in and shocking things, I guess. Other than that, I don't think they're really going to kill much. More of a utility unit, really. Moving on to Warp Talons, these guys are still really, really good. They get 1 less attack now than they did before, but you can still reroll all the wounds with their Warp Talons, and they're now strength 5, not strength 4 with these Talons. So that's very, very nice. 4 attacks each, hit on freeze at strength 5 -2, 1 damage. I would also probably make these guys flash so you can advance and charge, and fall back and charge, and do things like that. Have him near Abaddon when he's got his real hits aura going off, and then you will on all hits and all wounds. Do a Dark Pact, so you get your exploding 6s to hit. You can have a good time with these Warp Talons. Warp Flames, each time an enemy unit of engagement range of this unit is selected to fall back. If that unit is battle shocked, they must take a desperate escape test for each model in that unit before any are moved. If that unit is battle shocked, you subtract 1 to the result. So people can fall back from these guys, but some of them might die on the way out. So that's quite nice. Havocs, they're still T5 with 2 wins. They've got a movement of 5 though now, not 6, but they shouldn't really be moving very much. The weapons, I like the weapons. I do like the auto cannons in 10th being 3 damage. That's very nice. The Havoc auto cannon is no exception. It has 2 attacks, hit on freeze, and strength 9 -1, 3 damage. It's not too shabby. In addition, where AP is being reduced, strength 9 flat, 3 damage. I like that. Chain cannon is not too bad either. 8 attacks, hit on freeze, strength 5. No AP though, but it's a very, very good horde killer. They have stabilizing talons. Essentially, you ignore all modifiers. They always hit on freeze. Very, very nice. Obliterators. These guys are the bee's knees in this index. It'll be interesting to see how many points they are, but they are certainly a frightening prospect. Movement of 4, toughness 7. Yes, toughness 7. Praise to Nurgle. They have a 2+ save on 5 wounds. And they can come in units of 4. That they won't die. You can make these guys undivided, and for a CP make them real all hits and all wounds, or you can make them Zinch and drop them down near Abaddon when he's got his real aura going off, and then you can make them auto wound on 5s and 6s with the Zinch strat. There are lots of things you can do with these guys. They've still got their flesh metal guns. They're still very, very good. You've got a melter 2 attack, a D3 attacks. That's strength 12 -3, flat 4 damage. Very tasty. They've got a blast profile at D6. 8 attacks -2, 2 damage. That's your anti-infantry one. And then you've got the anti-horde one, which has sustained hits 1 at D6 plus 3 attacks. That's strength 5 -1, 1 damage. So very, very good there. They also get their crushing fists, which is still good. You get 4 attacks each, hit on freeze at strength 9 -2, 2 damage. Very, very nice. Once per battle, you can make them indirect fire if they've done a Dark Pact. It's nice. It's a nice thing to have. But at 24 inches in deep strike, you probably don't need to do indirect fire. But then again, I guess they are quite slow, so if the enemy starts running away from them, you can just go, you know what, I'm just going to move a bit and then indirect fire. So, okay. But yeah, you can come in units of 4. Nice. Chaos Land Raider. Same as the Space Marine Land Raider, essentially. It's an absolute tank at toughness 12, 2 up save and 16 wounds. It's got a combi weapon, which is nice. It's got the Soul Shadow Layers cannons, which are very, very nice. Twin linked heavy bolters. It can do dark packs, which is nice. So you can get your 6s to auto wound or your 6s exploding, which is very nice. And obviously it's got the assault ramp, so after it's moved you can still get a unit out, move and charge. So yes, okay. Chaos Land Raider. Chaos Predator Annihilator is the same as the Space Marine Predator Annihilator. You got the twin link layers cannons, very nice. He gets to reroll damage rolls of 1 against monsters and vehicles, very, very nice. Chaos Predator Destructor, again it's the same as the Space Marine one, toughness 10, 11 wounds, 3+ save. If it attacks infantry, you get an extra AP. One thing I did notice though, this Predator autocannon does not have rapid fire 2, whereas the Space Marine one does. So you're only ever really going to get 4 shots, you're not going to get potentially 6. So, okay, but it's still a good cannon. Strength 9, -1 free damage. And I guess you can get auto wounding on things with Chaos, can't you? And things like that. I don't know why it's different. I think it should just be the same. It's the same gun. But okay. Vindicator, again, it's the same as the Space Marine one. You can shoot things in engagement range with your Demolish Cannon. Very, very nice. You don't suffer the penalty to hit rolls when you're in engagement range. Very, very nice. It's toughness 11 with a 2 up save and 11 wounds. Demolish Cannons are very, very good now. Blast and D6 plus 3 shots makes them far less swingy and much more painful at strength 14 -3 D6 damage. Very, very good. Defilers, they're nice. They can move over monsters and vehicles now as if they're not there, and also terrain features that are less than 4 inches in height. They are a scuttling walker, so that's quite nice. They're quite smashy in combat with the Defiler Claws, 5 attacks, strength 16 -3 D6 plus 1 damage. Yep, they can rip things open. And as usual, he gets a decent amount of firepower as well with twin las cannons or auto cannons. And the Defiler cannon's quite nice as well, being blast at D6 plus 3. Strength 10 -1 free damage. It's essentially a battle cannon. So that's very nice as well. And he gets a 5+ invulnerable save, so that's quite nice. Fortrines, they're good. Toughness 10. That's a big boost for them. They were toughness 7 before. So that's very, very good. The Ectoplasma Cannon is still blast, but blast has got better now, so that's good. Other than that, the profiles for the guns are kind of what's to be expected in 10th. So you get D3 attacks per plasma, which strength 10 -3 free damage. I like that. That's very nice. And then the Hades Autocannon 8 -1 2 damage. That's your anti-infantry one. It has something called Demonic Ordnance. Used on this model, selected to shoot. If it's ranged weapons. If it does, its ranged weapons can have devastating wounds and hazardous, so you can do mortal wound damage, but you do have to do a hazardous roll afterwards. So yeah, I mean, I'll just be doing that all the time, to be honest, especially with the autocannon variant with the extra shots you'd be getting, 12 shots. You'd be fishing for those devastating wounds because you don't have massive AP. With the plasma, maybe be a bit more cautious about it. So it's got an invulnerable save, then do it. If it hasn't, you might as well just keep the AP free and just have fun. So yeah, they're nice. Hellbrutes, they've got 2 up save, toughness 9, 8 wounds. Same as Dreadnoughts. All the weapons are sort of to be expected, really. Nothing really to write home about there. They've got some nice abilities. One in the start unit is within 6 inches. If it makes a Dark Pact, you don't just get sustained hits or lethal hits, you get both. So that's nice. So these guys going around just buffing all your other units could be a thing. And if he's got 2 Hellbrute Fists, they get twin linked, so you can reroll wounds. So that's nice. Okay, not bad, not bad. Helldrakes, they're your flyers. They're not bad. They're quite good in combat at dealing with flyers, as always. Anti-flying 2+ and devastating wounds makes them very good at ripping flyers out of the sky. Its weapons aren't too bad. If it targets a flying unit, you get +1 a hit. Nothing really to write home about there. Molder Fiend, he's good, similar to the Forge Fiend. He's quite killy now. His fist being strength 14 and D6 plus 1 damage is very nice. You can reroll advanced and charge rolls made for him, so he's more reliably going to get into that combat. You can obviously make him slash, so you can advance and charge as well if you want to for a CP. And he ignores all modifiers to move, advance and charge rolls and things. So he's always going as quick as he's going, which is very nice. Chaos Rhino, it's a Rhino. It heals a wound each command phase and can transport guys around. Spawn, they're interesting now. They move 8, toughness 5 of 4 up, save and 4 wounds. They have d6 plus 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s at strength 5 minus 1, 2 damage. That's not too bad. And they get a 5 up shrug as well, which is quite nice. At the start of each player's command phase, one model in this unit regains up to d3 lost wounds. These could be quite interesting. You only have 2 in a unit though, but they're quite nice now, I think. Chaos Spawn. The Khorne Lord of Skulls. We're getting near the end. Khorne likes it. This is toughness 13 with a 3+ save. Only a 3+ save though, but at toughness 13 you won't be making that many saves. Yeah, it's 24 wounds and it's a 5+ in vulnerable save. Yeah, it has deadly demise d6 plus 2, which means it makes a big bada boom when it blows up, and it can plough through the enemy. In the fight phase, after this model has finished making its attacks, if it's destroyed at least one enemy unit, each enemy unit within 6 inches must get battle shot and take a battle shot test. Very, very nice. His cleaver is hilarious. He can have 5 attacks at strength 16 minus 4, 8 damage. Or he can have 15 sweep attacks and they're still at strength 8 minus 2, 2 damage. So that's very, 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 very painful. His guns are quite good as well. 2, 3 or more damage on those. Decent strength, decent AP. He's just an absolute boss who will go around smashing things. And of course he has the Mark of Khorne, which means you can get those lethal hits to hit in combat if you do your Dark Pact on 5s and 6s. So that's very, very nice. Non-cliff crown. It's an interesting fortification. It doesn't really do much except for be in the way, but it does give units within 9 inches a 4+ invulnerable save. That model has to be wholly within 9 inches though, not just within, so that's something to bear in mind. You can't park an entire army of tanks behind it. But you can probably fit a couple in. Each time a ranged attack is allocated to a model that is not fully visible because of this fortification, it also gets the benefit of cover, which is quite nice. So yeah, okay, fine. Vashtor, he's quite good. Toughness 9, 2 up save, 14 wounds. He's quite difficult to kill. He's got like a little flamer attack. Nothing to write home about there. He's got a good strike attack though in combat. Anti-vehicle 4+ and devastating wounds, so he can do lots of damage to vehicles with 6 attacks in on 2s, strength 9 minus 1, 3 damage. But any of those wounding on a 4+, it's just flat 3 mortal wounds, no saves. The AP doesn't really matter, neither does the strength. That's very, very good. Unholy Mechanisms. While a friendly demon vehicle unit is within 6 inches of this model, +1 to the strength characteristic of models equipped by weapons equipped by models in that unit. So essentially your demon engines get +1 strength to their attacks. So your Forge Fiends, your Defilers, your things like that. Was the Khorne Lord of Skulls a demon vehicle as well? It was. Yes, it was. Very interesting. Okay. At the end of your movement phase, select one enemy vehicle within 18 inches and visible to him until the start of your next movement phase. Half their movement characteristic in that unit, and subtract 1 from the attacks of melee weapons. So you can debuff enemy vehicles, make them slower and worse in combat, so that's quite nice. He's also got fly and a 4+ invulnerable save, but he hasn't got lone operative, so you can shoot him and you can't join units. Traitor Guardsmen, they're guardsmen. Okay, if they're in range of an objective though, they do get benefit of cover, which is quite nice, and you can give them quite a few special weapons. Not bad for sort of camping on a home objective. Probably better than cultists for doing that job, but they're probably more expensive. The Beastmen, yeah, fine. Traitors Enforcement, yeah, I won't bother. And that's pretty much about it. So yes, let me know your thoughts in the comments below for the new Chaos Space Marine Index. I quite like it. There's definitely some interesting combos in there and some standout units such as Abaddon, Terminators, Obliterators, and so on. So yes, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.